what does self-love look like? There's a lot of ways self-love can play out. I know it's something like, you should love yourself, and it's a lot of phrases thrown around, but in action, what does it look like to have self-love or to love yourself? Well, I'll just give you 3 examples on how I practice and integrate self-love into my life. When I am feeling stressed about something, emotionally triggered, if you will, upset, the first thing I do inside my head is I acknowledge the fact that I'm really upset. I know, crazy, wild talk, but I validate my own feelings and my experience. If I can acknowledge that I'm having an emotional experience inside my head first, I then don't necessarily start to look for it elsewhere in other people. A lot of behavior that we do is trying to get validation from other people, especially when we're having issues with either a partner or somebody we're in a relationship with. So if I can validate myself and go, wow, I must be really tired, or wow, I have been running ragged, I need some rest, or wow, that thing really hurt me. It really helps for me to love on myself and meet my own needs first. Second way that I practice self-love is I have forced myself to rest. Sometimes it's a forcing, sometimes it's, pretty easy, but I am the type of person who is drawn to achievement. I like success. I'm very driven. I'm very motivated. And so for me, the work is in the rest. And so when I find I'm feeling depleted or I'm feeling stressed about work, chances are doing more, not the solution. I've tried that. It's called burnout. And you just keep doing it and you don't get any further on the hustle hamster wheel to nowhere. For me, the work is in the rest. So when I can tune out the urgency that my body is telling me, like, this has to get done, and I actually focus on resting, I can actually be a much better problem solver and actually come up with creative solutions as opposed to operating from a state of fight or flight, stressed out, where the same mindset that got me into the stress is also trying to solve the problem that same mindset created. So you can't solve the problem with the same mindset that created it in the first place. And then the third one, you're not gonna like it. Boundaries. Oh God, these self-awareness people just keep talking about boundaries. I get it. It took me a long time and I'm still figuring out where those boundaries are. Boundaries to me are when you say, please don't talk to me that way, or I will no longer tolerate this. It's being able to say that in the first place and know that it might upset the person that you're saying it to, and being okay with somebody else having emotions that they're actually responsible for. So it is the acceptance that you are only responsible for your emotional state and your emotional reactions and not somebody else's, and then following through on that thing, right? So I used to be talked down to significantly by an ex, and I remember just saying, please don't talk to me that way, please don't talk to me, as if I had to ask his permission for him to stop treating me that way. But did I enforce the boundary? No, I continued to let it happen. I still made it okay for him to talk to me that way. And you know what that did over years and years and years and years of that? I lost myself. I all of a sudden started believing everything that came out of his mouth. It must be true. He must be unhappy because of me. Turns out dude was just unhappy, and no matter what I didn't change the fact that he was unhappy. That's his work to do, not mine. And when you can recognize that your power is really only within your perspective, your response, your reaction, and your boundaries, you can start to let everybody else figure out their shit too, because you're not in charge of it anyways. And when you can accept that you only got to worry about you and your response to things, and everybody else who has an issue with it, that's their work to do, life becomes so much lighter. And you probably start to get rid of some of those people who are dragging you down anyways. Like and follow along with more self-awareness tips.